Well, hey YouTube, Madam Roy back again. Well, we're out for our walk. This is going to be, day 4 of the Walking Vlogger, A Quest for Fitness. We're heading out. Mike's here today. We're still in his neighborhood today. It is really, really cold. I don't know if you guys, let's see what the phone actually says. What is the current temperature?
It's 29 degrees in Portsmouth right now.
Well, as you guys can see, it's pretty cold out, but we're committed, so we are definitely going for our walk today. You want to switch it up a little, Mike? You want to go a different route?
Sure.
Alright, we're going to head a different way, even though it's the same neighborhood, so be back in just a couple of minutes. Alright. So again, it is a very brisk day today. It's funny because just yesterday when they were talking on the Weather Channel, they said it was going to be in the 50s, maybe even close to 60. We got up this morning thinking it's going to be, because of the morning it'll usually be in the 40s if that's their forecast, but when I saw the temperature was 30 at my house, I knew that I was in trouble. When we got over here around 8:30, and I looked at the outdoor temperature gauge on my car and it said it was 26 degrees. And it looks like it's gone up a couple of degrees. It's sitting right about 28 right now. But man, not used to this. We've seen some cold weather this year, but it's generally been in the low 30s some days, but most time it sits in the 40s. So I guess we're gonna have to get used to it for another month or so before it warms up. Some of the houses in this neighborhood. Again, this is probably built. Hey Mike, when were the houses here built? In the 60s? Yeah, most of them are built in the 50s and 60s, and one reason you can tell, almost every house here is brick, whereas you get modern houses like mine, you have to pay usually $5,000 to $10,000 extra for brick. So it's one reason I like buying older houses. They tend to be a lot better built, even though with the modern technology back then, again, they use much better equipment. They have better wood, Today everything is either plywood, and sometimes it ain't even plywood. A lot of times today you'll see this foam board that they use. Our neighbor's house, from their bathroom to the outside, has no wood. It's actually just foam. Can't wait to see what happens when we had a hurricane there. A quick update about some plans I have for future videos. I was talking to my dad the other day, and I'm going to be doing a custom build, but it's going to be a lot more than that. I'm actually going to be designing and building the case myself out of spare metal. We've been thinking about this now for about a month, and the early idea we have is to get something maybe had left over from something he did with one of his classic cars, like maybe an old hood and whatever scrap metal we can find. And we want to build like a triangular case, but it's going to be like in the shape of a kind of like a Christmas tree. And we're going to fit the drives in. I'm going to make sure it has floppy drive, at least one optical drive, and then of course the hard drive is going to still have to be internal. I think the hardest part is going to be fitting all the peripherals, because I definitely want this to be an old school system, maybe like a Pentium 2 or Pentium 3. So more likely than not, whatever motherboard I find to use for this, I'm going to have a lot of expansion cards. So it's going to be a little bit of a design challenge, but I think we're up to it. And who knows, when it's done, might be giving it away to you guys.
Oh, an old TRS-80 or an old Commodore 64 or something like that.
Yeah.
Get a hold of one of those and gut it and make the internals 21st century. Like
yeah.
everything today. That way, when you're buying it, you're looking at an old vintage computer, but it's a comparable workhorse for today's market.
Don't laugh. I had actually thought about that. It's been done a few times on YouTube before.
Yeah.
I saw a guy that did it with an old XT,
Yeah.
an IBM XT. The TRS-80 might be a little challenging because there's not a heck of a lot of room in there. I'd have to get probably get a motherboard with an integrated video chip.
Yeah, you can get one of those compact motherboards or something.
What they call
like
I think it's an IPX motherboard would work. and then somehow I'd have to get a keyboard to work, because you remember the TRS-80s had built-in keyboards, so I have to find some.
One. That was my first computer, TRS-80.
Really, mine was a let's see, my very first computer was a Tandy 1200 HD in 8088 with 640 kilobytes of RAM and a whopping 20 megabyte Seagate MFM hard drive. That's the one that kind of sounded like whoo, 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 whoo.
Yeah.
Kind of like had a chirping sound to it. But yeah, it's not a bad idea. The only computer I had that back in the day that would have been similar to that was I had a Commodore 64.
Oh yeah.
So I remember back in the day, you either had the TRS-80, a Commodore, and a few of my friends actually had those Sinclair systems, the ones from England, which was kind of unique here, but believe it or not, they actually had a niche market in the USA. They weren't the greatest computers because they didn't have full compatibility, because being from England, a lot of the software they wrote for it was in PAL versions. So if you hooked your Sinclair up to a comparable TV back in the day, which is the way you usually had to do it, it wouldn't work because our TVs were in the NTSC format. So the only way that would work is you'd actually have to import a monitor too. Because if you imported the PAL monitor, it would work. Or if you used like an RGB connection, remember those? That would also work as well. Something you find interesting. I was watching a YouTube video the other day. This gentleman had one of those old Western Union telex machines back like from the mid 60s, you know, where you used to have to, Western Union would have money forwarded to someone else or transferred. Do you know the ones I'm talking about?
I think so.
Well, one of the guys I watched, I can't remember the YouTube user, but he actually found a way to hook a similar vintage modem up to it, and he was actually surfing the internet. Now bear in mind, this is a machine that has no screen. It's basically a glorified typewriter. Right. There is a keyboard, but whatever it displays is actually printed out using a daisy wheel printer. And it's printed in real time, just like a typewriter would be. Yeah, exactly. And the first thing, once he hooked it up, he actually had another computer, an old Pentium 1 in the background that was transmitting this old website. And what he actually did is he logged in using the teletype machine, and he did some Google searches with it. And this guy probably has 100,000 views or more on this page. He has a couple of videos with this thing, and everybody kept saying, I can't believe you can do that with such an old machine. It was incredible. If I can find that video, I'll place a link to it down in the video description of mine. But if not, just check it out. Type in Western Union telex machine goes on the internet. It should come right out right now. The tape mechanism is starting to freeze up on here. So if the video doesn't look too good the rest of the way, I apologize, guys. Not really much I can do when it's below 32 degrees. Actually feels like it's getting colder. You see my hands are turning beet red. What'd I do for you guys? If it gets cold like this again, I may have to skip a day or two of this and just wear gloves, but it's very hard to operate the camcorder when you're actually wearing gloves. Probably about halfway through right now, and just so you guys know, I'll give you an update on how I'm doing with this. Nighttime is still a challenge for me. I've set a goal for myself, as most of you guys probably already know, not to eat after 8 o'clock, and for the most part I've been sticking to that. The only thing I will do is, if I'm really desperate, I'll suck on a hard candy like a butterscotch. Hard candy. They thought I said something else. But other than that, I'm doing pretty well. I've actually lost about 5 pounds so far, which I'm fairly happy with. Would always like to lose more, but you know what? You gotta set small term goals for yourself. So I learned in my class, if you set those small goals, the big goals will follow. Oh yeah, guys, look at this. You actually have some ice out here today. Very rare around here. But yeah, if you set those short-term goals and you follow those short-term goals, again, you're more likely to succeed with your long-term goals. Because if you give me an example, my ultimate goal is to lose about 70-80 pounds. Well, I'm not saying that for myself. My initial goal is to get under 300 pounds. I will tell you guys right now, I'm sitting right about 338, 339. So for all intents and purposes, I have about 40 pounds to go. And my short-term goal, again, is to get to 300, but my immediate goal for the next 2 weeks is to get to 330. So essentially about 10 pounds within, let's make it 2 weeks. So 10 pounds in the next 2 weeks. If I really cut back, and that is doable. And you know what? I am at the end of this 2 weeks. So let's see, that's going to be Wednesday, 14 days from now. I'm going to weigh myself. And now if I'm not right around 330, then you guys can get on my case, because that means I'm not doing what I'm supposed to. Well, we're almost back right now, so I'm going to end the video. I hope you guys really are enjoying this, and I hope you actually get something out of these videos. Again, I'm doing this for my health, but I'm also doing this to help you guys. Hope I'll inspire somebody else to get healthy and lose some weight. Please remember to like and subscribe, and as always, have a blessed day, everybody.